Okay, and
There we
we are
go.
live. How's it going, Gavin?
All good in you, and good evening to hopefully everyone that's watching us tonight. It's going to be, hopefully, we're going to have a great time. So, we've got an awesome guest tonight. So, yeah, let's see our first podcast. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, tonight we're going to be talking to Carl from Northcoast Constrictors. He's got an amazing collection of animals.
And
So,
a
yeah,
really
really
nice
looking,
guy, also.
yeah,
Hmm.
straight up guy. He's got a real passion for the animals. So, yeah, I'm just trying to see. We obviously not on the YouTube platform, so we are not able to see the comments or anything. Um,
Um, we should be.
we should be, but let's take a minute here and see if we can. There we go. View on YouTube. Ah, well, hello. Continue. Sorry about that, people. Let's see if we can get this. Hey, hello.
Yo, I think we are live. I'm checking it on the link. It doesn't say that we're on YouTube yet.
Okay, I'm watching
We still,
from.
like I say, we still
I
this
can
is
see
still,
us.
still got to work the bugs out a little bit. There we go. Okay, cool. We're all good. Fantastic. Right. So, Keith, do you want to explain a little bit now about the whole point of the podcast and that, or?
It's just a big delay. I think I'm just going to stick to doing it from StreamYard, and then I'll just pop back to YouTube just to.
100%. Cool. Alrighty. So I think we are people are going to be able to hear us now and everything. So let's get talking, I
I've
suppose.
just got a massive delay on my side. Yes, welcome everybody. Yeah, this is our first episode, and yeah, we're really excited.
Mm.
So most of you know me as Kilo. My real name is actually Keith. And then my co-host, a lot of you know him, Gavin Labuskachny from
Mm.
Royals by Design.
That's me.
And yeah, tonight we will welcome Carl from North Coast Constrictors. Carl has amassed quite a collection in the short period of time that he's been in the hobby. So yeah, we're gonna have a nice chat with Carl and see what he's up to, what projects he's working on, how he sees the industry, um, projects that he's doing this season, stuff that he's looking to hopefully create for future projects. And then yeah, at the end we'll do a little Q&A session. So if you guys have any questions for Carl or Gavin or myself, just let us know, and then yeah,
Yeah.
we'll be happy
Feel
to
feel
answer those.
feel free to ask anytime. And I mean, I think we can see the chats that's going on. So if we can see them, like I say, we're still figuring out the bugs and that. So let's hope this goes well.
Okay, I can see the chats here on this side now. It's when I went through to the YouTube interface that there was a bit of a lag and a delay, but it's all better now. So
Okay,
we're
cool.
gonna just take a minute quickly and just share the link through to all the
Various
groups and that,
socials. Yeah.
all the various socials.
While you do that, Keith, I'll maybe explain a little bit so we don't have silence or
Yeah,
anything. So
all
guys,
good,
the
all good.
reason the main reasoning for this podcast is not to get famous off it or anything. It's just more like to bring the South African community, reptile community, together I mean, I think quite a bit of it's going to be ball python related, but there's going to be a lot of other stuff over time. So we're gonna focus more on the South African market, but every now and again we're going to have some seriously hard hitting big boys from the States and from Europe and that kind of stuff, which we've kind of organized quite a bit of that already. So yeah, that's what it's about, bringing us together, learning even the guys that aren't really well known yet, platform for them to get their names out and show us what they're working on, cool things like that. So that's pretty much where we're looking at for this.
Yeah, and thank you to everybody that has joined so far.
Yeah, thank you.
Luke, we see you over there. How's it going, bud? Thanks for joining us. Yeah, so I think we'll bring the man of the moment in now. So let's welcome Carl from Northcoast Constrictors. Carl, how you doing, bud?
What's up?
How's it going, guys?
You're all good, eh?
You, man.
All good.
So, Carl, yeah, no, it's an absolute pleasure. Give us, if you want, you can give us a little bit, about Carl. Let's hear a bit about Carl. How you doing? Yeah, where you based? A little bit about your operation.
Okay, so as anyone that knows me that knows that I'm a relatively new ball python breeder. I'm going into my second season now, but I've also gone in quite seriously with it. Last year's season wasn't that great, but it was more of trial and error, and then this year is rectifying those mistakes. So I've made also a point of getting very putting myself out there a lot on Instagram and on YouTube and making channels, because obviously the goal is to sell. As much as it's a hobby and a passion that you love doing it, it costs money if you don't sell snakes. If you just keep them and look after them, it costs a small fortune. So obviously it was something that I wanted to do, and then to have a sideline, maybe spare bit of cash. So it started off with me buying a ball python for my son for Christmas as a pet. And I didn't know anything about ball pythons. I'm an ex-game ranger. I mean, I know about reptiles and snakes, African rock pythons and Burmese pythons, reticulated pythons. But ball pythons was something that was foreign to me, and a friend of mine suggested buying a ball python for my son because of how docile they are. But then I went down the rabbit hole when I discovered ball pythons and the genetics and the traits and what you can do with them. And then one thing led to another. And I thought, let's try a small little breeding operation. But if anybody knows, it's very difficult to keep it small if you're really passionate about it.
There's an old saying especially the ball pythons. You never ever see anybody with two ball pythons. They have one and then 10. There's never a second and a third one. It's always one and then a whole lot more. And I'm guilty of that myself.
Yeah, I mean, I bought the first one and it was a female, and I spent more on the enclosure than I did on the snake. I bought a wild type female for $600, and then like a 1,800 rand tank and heating and thermostats. It was crazy. And then anyway, 18 months later, I'm now sitting. Obviously, you can't see. You can only just see the one corner of the snake room, but there's 125 ball pythons in here now, and retics and boas, but it's just I fell in love with the hobby. I fell in love with the particular genes that we're going to discuss tonight, of what I'm concentrating on, that are visually appealing to the eye for me, and then obviously, what's going on in South Africa, with regards to selling it and getting people more involved in the hobby, because the more guys like us, more breeders you've got, the better, because, we're not pet shop selling to one person. We're trying to focus on selling to other breeders that will buy 5, 10, 20 snakes from you. So
Yeah, no.
It's encouraging to get more people into the hobby. So the more people that know about it and realize how awesome it is, and then, depending if you want to be a big breeder or a small breeder, I mean, there's guys here in South Africa right at the top of the pyramid like this that they can earn a living from it just doing ball python breeding. But I think the bulk of us have to have a second job.
No, exactly.
In America, maybe it's a different story, but in South Africa, and that's why we need to grow the South African market.
I mean, I've been doing it now for about 5-6 years, and I've seen how things have gone up and down, left and right, and it's just when like now you said what about 2 years you've got into it, eh?
18 months now, almost 2 years. It's almost 2 years now. In this December, it'll be 2 years.
Okay. I know Keith and I were actually discussing it the other day. We said that when I started 5-6 years ago, the stuff that was available was really cool, but everything was affordable because it wasn't so advanced at the time. Now, when you want to get into it, you got to drop 100, 200K in one go, and then you've got 2 snakes, that are pretty cool. Things have changed so much now.
Yeah, but there's a flip side to that coin as well, because a lot of the breeders that I've spoken to, the guys that got into it right in the beginning, I'm talking 10 years ago, paying up 30,000 Rand for a spider.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Like when the first pastels came out, and spiders and whatnot, then those guys were paying that now what you'd pay for like a multi-gene pod. Like a 25, like a visual exantic pod so I think I've got an exantic pod male there that's worth about 25K. But I mean, you'd pay that for a spider a couple of years back. I know someone that spent 30,000 Rand on a spider when the gene first hit. So it's all about supply and demand.
No, for sure.
And then obviously recessive genes taking longer to produce, and having to prove them out, and taking 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 years to add in more recessives. That's where your value is. But,
I remember when the Super Lessers came out in the States. I can't remember when. I think it was in the early 90s, if I remember correctly. I mean, they were 50 or 55,000 US. It was insane.
The scaler's head was $150,000.
Yeah. I mean, that just went, that just plummeted.
I think that was the fastest depreciating asset. Anybody that bought a scaler's head ball python back then, I think $150,000 was the highest offer, and the guy turned it down. I think the highest sold was $120,000 or $130,000 US.
Yeah. Those things are, like you said, depreciated massively, and the only thing that I think's close to that is the banana. I mean, 50,000 US, and then within a year or two, they were $100 around there. That's insane.
I think banana would have held its value if it wasn't. What's the term we use when it's sex dominant? Male makers and female makers.
Yeah.
I think banana, because as far as I'm concerned, the banana gene is one of the most beautiful, visually appealing snakes in the ball python industry. And I think people are just scared of it because of male makers and female. Everybody wants a female maker, but then everybody shits themselves for a male maker.
Exactly.
So, what do you do? But the actual look of the snake, I think it would have retained its value if it didn't have that trait.
But that snake, I think, is very, very good still for the pet market. It's an easy thing to reproduce. It's beautiful from when it's born to when it's old and dies. It's pretty the whole time. For the pet market, and it's an affordable. It's a poor man's lavender albino.
100%. I took a banana pod the other day for a friend of mine and future client, I think. He bought a banana pod here from a breeder in Durban, and he asked me to go and pick it up and look after it for a month until the last expo, and then one of my friends was traveling up, and it was honestly one of the most beautiful snakes that I had seen. But it was a male, and it was a male maker. And and I just said to him, I said, because he asked me, he's brand new, it was his first snake. what do you think? And I just said, it's a visually appealing, one of the most beautiful snakes I've ever seen. It'll make a great pet. But to breed this snake, if you're going to want to try and breed banana pods, you're going to have an issue with being a male maker.
Yeah, a lot of males.
So buy it as a pet.
Exactly.
Guys, sorry, just we're having some issues here. There's a lot of people that are not on, and even if they click the YouTube link, it's saying they're waiting for the Reptile podcast. So sorry that I haven't joined. I'm just trying to figure out why.
Oh, there's only 3 people on the.
Although it seems like if I click on that link, it does show that we are here, but
yeah, when I click on it also.
Look, we're on. I mean, I can see us on the YouTube and I can see we live on my phone.
Keith, maybe just copy that YouTube URL, the one that's running now on your open YouTube, and post that one maybe.
Yeah, but I have to close StreamYard because I can't run both. There's a massive lag in between. So I don't know if I need to close StreamYard and leave YouTube open, or I can try it quickly, but I'm pretty sure that the whole session will disconnect if I do that.
Probably,
yeah.
I mean, there's seven people watching at the moment.
We can always log back on. Right? Just give people a
let me just try that quickly, because there is definitely a delay. Okay, so I'm just gonna say I'm gonna close this and.
Gavin will chat.
Yeah, we'll talk. Why not? Why not?
Okay, so for those of you who are watching, I have just recently, agreed to buy one of Gavin's snakes.
Yeah, I'm very sad to sell it, but can't keep everything. I don't know if you want to say what it is or not. I don't know if you want to say.
We're not going to say what it is now.
Oh, we're not going to say. Okay, not yet.
When it's in my collection. Then I'll do my YouTube video where I will show the snake and give you a shout out on my YouTube video. So that's how I like to promote other breeders.
No, for sure.
As well.
For sure.
So I bought this snake from this breeder. Look how beautiful it is. That's why I bought it. And then so we'll save that. Otherwise we run out of content, No,
100%. No, let's just hope all the paperwork comes through quickly. Otherwise I might end up having to keep her.
But it's
okay.
However long it takes.
Okay, So apparently everything seems to be with that link I sent to my wife, and she's watching it in the other room and says it's working.
So is it live?
From what I understand, it is. She said she just
couldn't see live because
you're off now. Yeah.
Okay, so which link should we share though? Is it the one that I sent you guys?
Yeah. I'll send you the one here that I sent her quickly. There we go. That's the one I sent her that she's watching off.
Okay, let me just share this one real quick.
So sorry about this, guys. We just it's our first one, so we just
bit of teething problems.
Yeah, just figuring out the niggles that
I can see there's a couple of guys on commenting. There's Reptiles for Centuries on, Shaw's on, Times to Blanche, Nevermore, Dwayne. Guys are commenting in the YouTube section.
Is it? Yeah, I don't. I can see some comments. The last one was from Justin that said hi. I don't know if there's anything after that.
Okay.
Sorry about this, everyone.
I'll be your crash test dummy, guys.
No. That's good.
I'll be the crash test dummy.
Still just the logo. Wow. So it's not going through to YouTube. And if I go through to YouTube, then the lag, I cut myself out, then it's only the two of you. I How are some people on and other people are not? That's the part
Yeah,
that
you
I'm
see,
not.
I'm trying to log on now and it won't let me get on.
Okay. So I'm checking in now. If you go to just the Reptile podcast, not the link that we sent. Okay. So if you go to the actual
The actual
page,
channel.
there it says live. Yeah.
Okay.
And if you click on that,
Okay, so you actually got to go onto your YouTube then.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just give me 5 minutes, guys. I'm just gonna step out of the room quickly. I just want to send a voice note to everybody and say they must just go onto the channel itself and not via the links.
Yeah. Then what I'll do is we'll start and carry on talking a bit now. Let's keep it going.
Sorry about this call.
No, don't
No
stress,
worries.
guys. Let's get this right for the viewers, eh?
All righty. Okay, so Carl, let me check quickly on your stuff here. Yeah, there we go. So you said we were discussing a little bit off air just now about your couple of your projects. So get maybe your Axanthic pieds. I mean, I know you're into your pieds. I'm into my pieds. So yeah, you want to tell us a bit about your Axanthic pied project or what you got coming or hoping for and.
Okay, so at the moment with the Axanthic pied project, we've got a first-year breeder visual Axanthic pied male.
Awesome.
And he is currently in rotation with 2 big adult proven breeder females that are 100% double het Axanthic pieds. One of them is his mother and the other one is the aunt.
Are they normal double hets? Or
they're normal double hets. So they're 100% het pied, 100% het Axanthic VPR. They look normal, but they're both double 100% hets. There's no visual pied or no visual Axanthic in either.
Nothing else like pastel or any other codom or whatever.
Nothing like that. There's a building block. When we were chatting earlier and we were doing the test run for this, I pulled out some of the pastel pied 100% het Axanthic VPRs, which I'm busy growing up to throw into that project at a later stage.
And just on that pastel pied, guys, have a look at his Instagram. Like, I know my pied stuff. And when I saw that, I had to ask him, actually, no, what is that? It's a freaking pastel pied, but it's probably the nicest pastel pied I've ever seen. So, guys, have a look at his Instagram a bit later. It's freaking awesome.
I honestly thought there was yellow belly pastel pied in it, to be honest.
That's what I thought too. I had a little bit of yellow belly going on there.
Yeah,
that's what I was also thinking.
It looked to me, and that's why I bought 2 of them, a male and a female. And I honestly, to me, when I looked at them, I thought to myself, it's not just pastel pied, but it was sold as pastel pied. So we'll see what happens.
Dude, you never know. That thing I actually haven't told you that thing I'm sending you might have a bit of a surprise in it that I've recently discovered. So we'll chat about that at a later stage.
We'll chat about that later. The reason why I bought those particular pieds, though, and the reason why pastel pied's not really a big seller, but the reason why I bought it, and I bought 2 of them, is because they're both 100% het Axanthic VPR. So pastel is what we were discussing earlier. Pastel, and if you add that gene, that's just one of the genes, keeps the blacks and the grays, black and gray, stops the snake from browning out. The Axanthic part of the, the pod's white with saddles. So if it's got your Axanthic saddles without any other genes in it, it tends to start browning out. When you throw fire or pastel, Enchi, orange dream, those kind of genes into it, it keeps those patterns. So that's where I'm going with the project for when we call it the black and white pied project. It's not just the Axanthic pied project. We're going to put fire into that. We're going to put basically fire flower, and then at a later stage we're going to put orange dream into there as well.
Oh, then you need that boy of mine then. That other boy of mine.
Well, the boy we've got that's the funny thing is, like, I'm in a kitchen here and I've got all the ingredients. We just got to throw them all together and wait and see what comes out of the oven at the end of the day. It's for sure. And it's a slow cooker.
Yeah,
years in the making.
That's the thing. I mean, it's nice. You get that instant gratification of going and buying a pair of Axanthic pieds. Instant gratification. But it also is, I mean, Keith and I also have discussed this quite a bit over the years. It's also nice just to get all the bits and make it yourself, go for those odds, that 1 in 16, with hit, double hit to double hit, that kind of stuff. It's a lot more satisfying.
Funny enough, the Exantic pied male that I've got that's pairing up now, the visual, both the parents, the father and the mother, are 100% double hits. Not one of them is a visual.
That's awesome. But that's satisfying, you got that massive 1 in 16 chance, other than the instant gratification of going and buying one.
Yeah, and we actually got more than we got two. We got two visuals out of that, and we kept awesome. One was kept back.
That's awesome.
It seems like our teething problems are over now, guys. Sorry about that.
Are we sorted?
Sorted.
Yeah, look, I sent a few messages on the groups now that the guys mustn't follow the link that we send. They must just go on to YouTube and then search for the Reptile Podcast channel, and then they will find the live stream on there. So,
okay, I'm kind of checking my phone out as well, yeah.
We live and learn.
Yeah, got to start. You got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere.
As I said, I'll be your crash test dummy. So, guys, fire away. Let's. What else would you like to know? Second year breeder, second season. I've gone from 8 adult females because when I decided I was going to breed last year for the first time, I did buy a couple of adult females and a couple of adult males, and I bred 8 females last year. I did a couple of things wrong. I moved halfway through breeding season. I didn't have a choice.
I've done that also.
And what happened is, all 8 of my adult females locked up, and they were all building. Okay, and I had to move. In fact, at the end of September, I had to move house, and it was only about 20 k's up the road. But just that move disrupted my entire breeding season, and only 2 females ovulated and gave me eggs. The rest of them reabsorbed their follicles.
Wow!
So for me, it was a very disappointing season because I had some powerhouse males. I mean, one of the males is a pastel red stripe, 100% het clown, 50% genetic stripe. In fact, that snake came from DJ Van Wyk from Reptiles for Centuries. I didn't buy it from him. I bought it from a guy that he bought it from, Tyrone Kunikrama from Beautiful Snakes. Okay. Tyrone sold it to me. I bought the snake and put it into my collection and bred it to a couple of females. Locked with all of those females, I also bought a couple of other males. I'm just talking about that one in particular. But yes, I had 2 clutches of eggs only out of those 8 females. Unfortunately, one entire clutch didn't make it. 2 eggs went bad. I'm not sure if it was. Well, it just happens. It's just one of those things. Yeah. 2 out of the 7 eggs on that particular pairing, that male paired up to a female that's in this tub here. It's an Enchi Spider, 100% het Exantic VPI. She gave 7 eggs, 2 were slugs, 5 went into the incubator. Within 2 weeks, 3 of them started going moldy. I separated them and 2 of them started going moldy. I put them in a separate egg box. There was nothing I could do. I put foot powder, tried everything, and they just eventually had to turf them. And then the other 3 went full term, and on day 60, I still hadn't had a pip, and I could start seeing a little bit of mold on those eggs. I'd already had a successful clutch, which we can talk about before, but I'm just talking about that particular that disappointment on the first breeding season, because that was a very, very powerful male. And I decided on the night of night 59, actually the day before day 60, it was the 29th of December, I cut the eggs, and all the snakes were fully formed, but they were all dead.
Yeah,
and it was just one of those things. Now this year, and not only that, last year my snake room didn't have an air conditioner. Whatever the ambient temperature was outside, that was the temperature in the room, give or take a couple of degrees. The ambient temperature at night plummeted in winter. So the only thing keeping the snakes warm was the hot spots.
Yeah.
And then during the day, well, there's no air conditioner to cool it down. And where I live, that's not uncommon to hit 40 degrees Celsius in the middle of summer quite easily. So, this year I've got an air conditioner in the room, which is set constantly at around about the between 26 and 28 degrees Celsius mark. And then obviously in summer it'll stay like that. In winter it stays like that.
That's awesome.
So I've got a much more temperature controlled environment, and not only that, I've got 40 adult females pairing now. So it's quite a big from last year.
It's funny you mentioned that. Sorry, Gavin. We actually spoke about this the other day on one of the groups where some of the guys were saying how important ambient temperature is. And I took a picture of what my setup is like. And my room at the moment is about 16 or 17 degrees. And I've never heated my room. I've always just had a cold room. And my snakes are thriving. They're eating. They're doing everything that they should, shedding. So it's quite interesting that you've got you're running an aircon at a certain temperature. Yours is fine. Mine is almost 10 degrees lower, and we're getting pretty much the same results.
We see what I do in winter though, and this is a hot topic of debate amongst a lot of breeders, but it also depends on where you are in the country and also where you are in the world. You see, where I live on the coast is very, very humid, and the temperatures kind of they're mild in winter, okay? So they don't get too cold in winter, but in summer it gets very hot. But, I'm going to stick my neck out here, and there's some breeders that don't like this, some breeders that do it. I do drop my temperature slightly on my hot spots at night, just for 3 months, like June, July, and August. And I drop the ambient temperature in the room from 6 o'clock at night until 6 o'clock in the morning. And I do that because it's kind of simulating outdoors. Yeah. So even if the snake is in a burrow underground, where you go out, and if you had to come out that burrow in the middle of the night, the temperature would be a lot colder. During the heat would all be retained in the burrow at night.
No, for sure.
But it would still drop a certain maybe 1 or 2 degrees. So what I do is my ambient temperature in the room, I drop about 2 degrees. And then I drop the hot spots about 3 or 4 degrees. And then I bring them now in August, I brought them back up now to where I keep my hot spots in the tubs at like 31 and a half degrees Celsius. And I keep my ambient temperature around about 27, 28. And that's how it'll be now, because I'm basically simulating going into spring, which promotes ovulation. Already now, this morning I came in and I've seen 2 more ovulations this morning.
It's crazy because there's a lot of people that don't change the temperatures at all. They don't change room temps. They don't do hot spots, night cooling. They just leave everything as is, and they have breeding seasons. And this is the fascinating part about this hobby is you doing it differently to how I'm doing it, and somehow we're all achieving the same results at the end of the day.
It just goes down to what you're comfortable with. Us here in Cape Town, we cold in the winter. Your side cold. What's a cold day there at like 20 degrees in the winter?
Look at nights. The coldest it got you in the middle of winter. I woke up one morning. I had to get to work to see something. Something was going on at work, and it was 4 degrees outside. Okay, in KZN, which is cold. Yeah. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't get cold here. You need that, and if we got load shedding and you don't have a heat, then your racks and everything is sitting at 4 degrees. Okay, so that's going to kill your snakes. Now I've got an inverter set up in the room now. I don't even switch it on even when there's load shedding. I'll wait 3 or 4 hours because the room retains a lot of the heat. If the power hasn't come back on in 4 hours, 3 or 4 hours, then I'll switch the inverter on because it'll only last 8 hours. We don't know how long, and I'll save that energy for night. If the power goes off during the day, I won't even, the inverter won't kick in. Inverter is purely there for nighttime. Now, just because I'm doing that cooling, and you must understand that this is my second season only, so this is a different way that I'm doing it this year. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to follow this same breeding procedure next year, because I think if you guys have watched any of my YouTube channels, I make mention of two of the guys that you are going to interview and have on your channel later on, which is Royal Balls, Rob Barraclough, and Joe Tully from Tully's Outrageous Royals. And
I see he's commenting quite a lot here.
Joe, I can see Tully on the comment section. Joe's my man. Yeah, he's already commenting. And Rob's on a trip back from Mongolia at the moment. So unfortunately, he's not even gonna. He's only gonna watch this podcast later. But he's not a believer in dropping temperatures. But I'll leave that for your interview with him. But I rely very heavily on more experienced breeders than myself, and that's why one of the reasons why I said I'll come onto this channel and be interviewed. Like, I had second thoughts about it because I don't know that much compared to the guys that you're gonna have and the caliber of guys that you're gonna have on this channel after me. So it's like a nice start to have somebody that's a novice like myself. So I'm still learning, and I've got I text these guys and ask them questions and advice. What do I do here? What do I do there? And it's a little bit different because they're in different parts of the world with completely different climates. For example, Rob lives in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur, where the temperature is pretty much the same all year round, and it's very humid. So he doesn't even run hotspots. His room just runs on ambient temperature. Joe lives in the UK, where it gets extremely cold. And in winter, and then I've got a handful of guys here in South Africa, like top, and I'm not going to drop any name or anything like that, but guys that are very, very well known in the industry that I have befriended and gone up to visit and gone to their houses, gone to see their breeding setup, and sat with them and spoken with them. All in the name of research and also making connections in the industry and buying snakes from them as well, but also asking them, how do I do this? How do I do it properly? Now, these are guys that have been doing it one of the guys has been doing it for 40 years. Yeah. Okay. In South Africa, ball python breeding. He did go out of it for a while, and he's back. And I was up recently in Johannesburg, and I went to his house, and his setup. He doesn't cool. He runs his temperatures pretty much year-round the same. His hotspots don't go as high as what I've seen guys that do their hotspots at 33 degrees Celsius.
I run 33.
That don't even go above 30 or 31 at a push,
Carl, but it's funny you mentioned now that you're a novice, but let me tell you, I've been in this industry, in the hobby, for about 9 years now, and I still go to certain people and I'm like, sorry, what do I do here? Or
sorry,
how
guys,
do I
I think
do
my
this?
battery's gonna go. Let me just check something out here quickly.
No worries.
I think this battery is gonna.
But you know what? You got to just find something that works for you. It doesn't have to be the same as me or Keith or whoever. If it works for you and you get the success, and if you're happy doing it that way, so
I'm doing it this way, and I'm running the season out because I'm not going to change anything mid-season now. I'm gonna run the season and see how it works for me.
Yeah. Okay.
I think he plugged the charger in, but I don't think it was actually plugged in.
Oh well.
Yeah. But thanks to everybody that has joined us so far. Keep the comments coming. We are reading them. And if you guys have any questions for Carl, later on in the show, we will pose some questions to him, and then hopefully he can answer some. So we'll just wait for Cole to reconnect. Yeah, we really had some teething problems here tonight, but hopefully it seems okay now, Gavin.
Yeah. It seems like, I mean, everything's coming through there now, and if I look on the link, I've got it running on my phone next to me. It's working. Looks like it's working fine to me.
Yeah, it looks good. And yeah, we've got our. I think we'll make him our chat administrator. Tully's Outreaches Royals. Thanks for joining all the way from the UK, bud. Really appreciate the support.
Yeah, I see Carl's going to log back on now, I said.
I saw that, yeah. We've got Murray Kane Morphs. You also based in the UK. Thanks for joining us.
I see we've got Tyrant Blanche also, so we just need to be a bit careful. You know how dodgy that guy can be sometimes, eh?
I don't know who you're talking about there.
Yeah, Tyrant's awesome. Good guy. Good guy. Hopefully we'll have him on sometime soon.
No, definitely. Really I've already poked the bear there, and I said to him, you know, he's been around for a long time as well, so he's got a wealth of knowledge to share with a lot of people. So
it's gonna be nice to have him. He's a good guy, very good guy.
He's also got a nice variety. You know, he's not one of us. It looks like Carl is back here, so let's see.
There we go.
Oh, welcome back.
We're back.
I had the laptop plugged. I had it plugged in, but the bloody switch at the wall was off, and I was like, "Why's the battery gone flat?" And our friends,
we've got some teething problems tonight, but it's all good, man. So, Carl, like I was saying before you logged off, you know, no matter how long you've been in this, there's still some people that you still go to, and it's sometimes the most basic questions that you go and ask these people. It's not like you're doubting yourself, but it's just like, wait, let me just check with these oaks, you know, just to make sure. And after 9 years in the hobby, I still do that on a regular basis, I can say.
Yeah, no, look, I think there's even things that that I've spoken to other top breeders about that they're still discovering. Like
you never stop learning.
Ball path, and something will happen. Like, for example, and in fact, I'll let Joe tell you about his story about a female. Now that all the stories that I've got really are relating to other breeders and stuff that they've told me, and I don't want to talk about what they've got going on because that's for their channel and stuff. But what I have realized is that there is a lot of different ways to do it the right way. Okay, there's only so many ways you can screw it up. Okay, if you're gonna screw it up, it's really the simple things that you're gonna screw up. Okay, like it's gonna be too hot or too cold. Those are completely within your control. Okay, hygiene, cleaning, making sure that your enclosures, you change your substrate, you're cleaning your tubs, and making sure that your snakes are in a healthy environment. Those kind of things you can't get wrong if you're diligent.
It's common sense. A lot of it's common sense.
Everybody knows that you mustn't go above 33 degrees Celsius on your hotspots. Even that is too hot, but it's not going to kill the snake. Okay, you mustn't go below. You've got parameters, very, very safe parameters to work in. So that's why if a guy says, "Hey, I keep my temperatures at 29, 30," and another guy says, "I keep my temperatures at 32, 33." Both of them are not wrong.
Yeah. Again, it goes to what works for you.
100%, you know. But we've got a cool here in summer especially. It gets so hot that the aircon has got to run to keep the room down. Yeah. Now, while we were out of battery, and I just want to log on here because I don't know if there was a chap. I think it's Tyrant to Blanche. He asked $1 million question. What's your ultimate project and what you're working towards? Tyrant, are you asking me that question or the other guys?
Tyron won't waste his time talking to Keith and myself, so that's definitely
that's definitely for you.
You guys want to know what my ultimate project is? So in other words,
well, before you answer that, so the message you sent me, and I'm just going to read these off quickly. It's a xanthic pied, desert ghost, clown pied, grail, holy grail. When do you work? When you've got all of these projects going on, are you gonna build another snake room there, or you've got a lot going on, my man?
I've got a lot going on. Yes, okay. So one of the rooms in my house is a dedicated snake room. Okay, I have got more space on this side of me here, on my left side here, because I've got 4 huge tanks here with retics and bows. I can put another 4 racks in here where I am now, and I'm going to move these retics out, and I'm going to put them into my bedroom or my son's room or whatever. My son's got a bedroom where he's got a Ridley's cave dwelling rat snake and a leopard gecko inside there. Nice. So for me, space is not an issue. But the next year, what I want to do is move into a house that's got a granny flat or servants' quarters, and I want to turn that into a snake facility. However, I also do not want to have 500, 600 snakes. Okay, so how I'm doing it is that I've had to start off by buying a lot of 100% heads, some powerhouse visual males, a lot of 100% head females to breed together, then get the visuals, keep the visuals back. So I'm going to kind of go up with my hatchlings, and then get my holdbacks, keep the very best of the holdbacks. Then I'm going to refine my collection, and then I'm going to keep all the best of the best, and then only have visuals and visual recessive.
Look, those heads will eventually move out and be replaced by your visuals.
100%. So that's exactly what will happen. I think if there's anything that I'll keep back, that's a head. It'll be a female 100% head that's got two or more genes in it. Otherwise, it'll be gone. Because I don't want it becomes too much work. And already as it is, with the amount of snakes that I've got, so I do this on my own. Fortunately, I'm lucky enough. My girlfriend looks after the rodents. I breed my own rodents as well, because to feed all of these snakes costs thousands, probably about 7,000 or 8,000 rand a month. If I had to, like one rat, an average of 1 rat a week works out for me at about between 7,000 and 8,000 rand a month minimum is what I'd have to buy if I was buying rats from a rat breeder.
And so it's important that you said that.
And it costs me about 3 grand a month in rat food, and then maybe about $500-600 in sawdust. Now my girlfriend looks after the rodents. That's her job. I don't do the rodents. We've got a good working relationship. I do the snakes. I clean the tubs. I maintain it. So the hours, it's usually I'm up at 4:30 in the morning first, and I'm then in the snake room, and I do my spot checks, cleaning, check the temperatures, make sure all the thermostats, the hot spots are right, all the thermostats are working. And then obviously when I get home from work, I'll go to work, and then I'll get home from work, and I'll come straight into the snake room and check everything, have a couple of hours off, deal with the family. And then when it's feeding night, I'll split my feeding up into 3 different nights. I do the adults, the yearlings, and the juveniles on different nights. And then I'll gauge on the breeding females, which females are smashing food, and I will feed them more than I'll offer 2 or 3 times a week, slightly smaller meals until they start. I had a female in this tub. This girl here, she charred 3 rats last night.
Oh, nice.
She just couldn't help herself. She's building, insane. And then I've got females that won't touch. So I gauge it. So what I do is, like, one night I say, okay, I'm feeding all the adult breeders, and I'll do that. But I don't want to get to a point where I've got so many snakes that I need to employ somebody to help me and clean, because then your profit is going into that. I want to keep it small enough where I can manage it on my own, and I want to have less snakes, but with higher genetics, better genetics.
It's
That's always
important that you
always
said that now, Carl, because especially for new people watching this stream, they might have 5 or 6 ball pythons that they're breeding this season. It might be whatever, normals, pastels, could be recessive stuff. By doing 6 pairings, if you get an average of 6 eggs, that's 36 new babies that you're getting.
Yeah.
So now you've got your 6 that you've already got that you got to feed. You got the new 36 that you got to feed. And the money adds up quickly when you have to start buying in rodents. Now you don't have, or you're not breeding it yourself. So it's very important for people to really focus on their collection and breed the stuff that they want to use for future projects, not just breed for the sake of it. Because a lot of people are in areas where rodents aren't freely available. So that's another thing that they've got to consider. So it's really good that you mentioned that, and it is reality. That's what it's going to cost you, 7,000-8,000 rand. It's a lot of money just
Well,
on.
I've got 125, 130 ball pythons now, and then I've got the retics. I've got some more retics coming and some more ball pythons coming. I've got orders for ball pythons that are arriving at the end of the year. Really, really good ball pythons, which I won't mention what they are now, not because it's a secret, just because I haven't got them yet. When they arrive, then I've got a YouTube channel which they'll go on, and then I'll tell people. But what that means is that at the end of the year, these are visuals that I'm bringing in, and at the end of the year, next year's breeding season, I've got yearlings now that are visuals that will be breeding next year.
Yeah.
So at the end of this year, I've got a lot of females that are 100% hits for clown, pod, various other recessive genes that will be for sale.
Yeah.
And I will have the visuals, which I will then breed, because I don't want it to be. If I want to enjoy it as well, and that's the thing. In the beginning, I couldn't get enough. I would buy one snake, and I'd buy another one, and then the next week I would buy, and I was looking at everything was just visual, and like some of the prettiest snakes that I saw were just plain basic fireflies. They're bright yellow and orange. I just thought, wow. And then
Bumblebee is the best example.
I look at it, and guys are going to laugh at me. And I look at a monsoon, and I just think that just looks like a squiggly pinstripe.
Yeah. It's a pinstripe on steroids.
Yeah, it's one of the most valuable genes in the world. I mean, but the thing is, it's not about the fact that the snake looks good. It's about supply and demand. That snake's not readily available. Visually, to me, the monsoon isn't a pretty snake. Okay, it's I don't like the pattern. I don't like what it looks like. It's just it's just valuable because it's rare.
I mean, for ball pythons, the thing is pattern and color manipulation, which is what you guys do. So if you take something like a monsoon, I don't know what it's going to take to put in there that you can change it, if I can put it that way.
I mean, leopard.
No, so I'll answer that question for you, Gavin. Could you go first?
I'll say leopard. I mean, is one of your best pattern changes when it comes to most things. But if you look at Billy from Mutation Creations, leopard monsoons, it's just a very well defined. Yeah, I mean, they're just very well, like the dots are really well defined from the leopard. It doesn't really change much. And you would think.
Okay, now imagine a multi-gene monsoon pod, but that you've got. Okay, now you've taken that whole blotchy pattern. Now you've made those patterns stick out even more, because right now it's just like olive green and yellowish dark. But. I just want to get back to Shane. Tyron was messaging now to Blanche, and he was saying that the question was for me. So,
okay,
to try and get on to where I see myself, Desert Ghost for me okay, I'm a pod fanatic. Okay, I love the Desert Ghost project, and there's Tyron. Okay, he's popping up on the screen now. Okay, my ultimate project. I think the ultimate project, Tyron, to answer your question, is going to change every year, because I think once you produce something or something new comes on the market and you see what other breeders are producing, then it raises the bar even higher. And then you want to produce that snake. Like the other day, I was thinking the Exantic pod, and I thought, hey, I'm going to put leopard, fire, pastel, orange dream, and it's already been done. In America, if you look at Aussie Boyd's and you go and look on his Morph Market page, there's snakes that he's selling there that I didn't think as a new breeder, and my wildest dreams already been done. Okay. Then everything changes, like when Justin Kabalka went and produced that Desert Ghost Exantic. No, I don't know if it was Desert Ghost. It was a Clown Part Exantic. Was it? No, the Desert Ghost Clown Exantic. Yeah. Okay, and then that just blew everything out the water. And then you look at his Kraken project, and then the Kraken 2.0, and it's like, where does it end? Now, like, we're 15 years behind, 10 years, 15 years behind those kind of projects. So when, unless you get on an airplane and you fly to Canova or Aussie Boyd's and you go and buy those hatchlings or yearlings and you bring back a pair, which you now have to multiply by 17 Rand to the dollar, and pay American prices, and then there's your import and export, there's your agents' fees and all of that to get into the project here in South Africa. It's that's why it's just because our currency is so weak against the US dollar. So I think while we are living in such a shit economy, we're always going to be playing catch up.
No, for sure.
But I look at some of the stuff.
The Desert Ghost. I'm working on a combo now, like my flagship project this season. If I can get it, it will be a pastel bamboo Desert Ghost. Okay, so that.
So you broke up. You broke up a bit. You said a pastel
bamboo Desert Ghost visual. I know there's another guy that, in fact, I've just bought some snakes from him now. He's also going for that combo, quite a well-known breeder. He is going for that combo as well. I've researched Morph Market in South Africa. I've researched Morph Market all over the world, and the closest that I can find is a pastel bamboo Enchi Desert Ghost. So it had one extra gene in it. It had the Enchi. But otherwise, I couldn't find, even on Google, I couldn't find a visual bamboo pastel Desert Ghost. So the one breeder that I just went to visit in Joburg now, and he's very well known. And if he says it, then I'll take it as given. He said to me, if it's produced, it'll be the first one in South Africa. Now, I just happened across this project by mistake. I mean, and if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I hit a luck. So I've got 2 pastel bamboo 100% head Desert Ghost females, and I've got an adult proven breeder single gene Desert Ghost male that's breeding with those 2 females. The one is actually, I've pulled her from the breeding rotation because she went off food. She won't eat again, and she's underweight, and I've pulled her from the breeding cycle this year. It's not going to risk it. The other one is big. I would have doubled my odds having both females, but I've had to pull the one, and so she'll breed next year. However, I've got a powerhouse yearling multi-gene Desert Ghost male, which is a pastel spot nose pinstripe Desert Ghost 100% head hypo male that will be breeding ready next year. Now that is going to be going to those 2 females plus other Desert Ghost 100% head Desert Ghost females that I've got that will be breeding ready in 2024 and 2025.
That's awesome. So, anything that has hypo is just better. Hypo makes the
you see, I've got a pinstripe hypo female and 2 normal hypo females, and then I've got a spot nose hypo 100% head Desert Ghost female.
I got quite a few hypo. I got quite a few hypo things myself. I'm massive hypo fan.
So yeah. So my ultimate goal at the end of the day, I want to produce one of the most beautiful looking pards. I love pard, and I think I love the saddles, as we were discussing earlier. I like an even 50-50 distribution of white to saddles. So I think if you can get a snake, here's old Joe. The end game is a new beginning, and he's quoting Rob. The end game is just a new beginning.
Yeah.
In other words, guys, basically there is no end game to ball python breeding. That is what's so fascinating about this, because it's an abyss. It's a never-ending. It's one of those things that's never going to end, because you can always add another morph, another trait.
It's limited by your imagination.
And you're going to add to it. So you're going to get to a project. There's things that are getting produced now. And that's what has made me get so addicted to this hobby, is that there is no roof. You're not going to get to the end of it. I wonder what's going to be available in 10 years' time. You know, and
if you look at
experiments.
If you look at the stuff that like, say for instance, Aussie is doing, you might produce something and then you look at it and then you think, how can he make that animal any better? And then the next breeding season, he shows you how he can make it better.
It's like you mentioned Aussie Boyds, because
because if you look at a orange dream pied or the super OD pieds that he made, those things are ridiculously orange, and then what he goes and does is he adds hypo and pinstripe to it, which takes it to a whole nother level.
Watch the space. Just saying, watch the space.
Now you've got these super orange dream pinstripe hypo pieds, and I looked at it and I'm like, there's no way you could make that any better or more orange. And he's probably going to bring something out at the end of the season that's going to make me swallow my words again.
Yeah. I mean, just look at those Desert Ghost Axanthics he's got now for sale. I think it's Lemon Blast Desert Ghost Axanthic, if I remember correctly. I mean,
it's crazy.
What? What?
You know, you guys are going to laugh now. We're talking about Aussie Boyds. 2 of the snakes that I've just ordered, in fact, today, are not from Aussie Boyds, but are snakes, are offspring from a snake that was brought in by a breeder here from Aussie Boyds.
Oh, awesome.
So the father of the 2 females that I've ordered today, their father is an Aussie Boyds pod.
Anything from Aussie is just quality. I think his worst quality snake is 100 times better than most people's best quality one.
Yeah.
Also, that means we're going to have you back.
Quality and not quantity. You know, I made a YouTube video the other day, and not the other day, it was a couple of months ago, and I don't know how well it went down in the industry, because we're trying to encourage breeders to get into the industry. So we don't want to scare people off. And I made a YouTube video, and I think the title is "So You Want to Be a Ball Python Breeder?" Like, buckle up, Buttercup, because you know there's a lot of things that guys don't tell you. The negative side of ball python breeding, and then there's obviously the positive side. There's no such thing. Like, I was a complete novice, and I thought in the beginning I was going to make lots of money in my first season. I thought all the adults that I bought were all going to lock up, and they were all going to ovulate, all the females. They were all going to give me 8 eggs, and all of the eggs would have all of the recessive visual traits that was exactly what I was thinking. That's how naive I was.
Ball pythons more humble.
The rudest awakening ever, because out of all 8 females, I got 2 clutches of eggs, and out of those 2 clutches, I only had 2 babies survive.
Now let's go back to that. Your first clutch that actually hatched and went through the motions of carrying on for the rest of their lives. What was that?
Okay, it was the male was a spot nose lesser pinstripe, and he was paired to a fire lesser pastel female. and she was a small girl. She was about 1,500 grams. She doesn't get big. She's not a big girl. She was a proven breeder. She gave 4 eggs, and one was a slug. So I had 3 eggs go full term. Okay. Now I made a promise to myself that my first clutch of eggs would not be for sale. I don't care what I produced. Those snakes, it's like an omen for me. I'm a bit funny like that. I would never ever, whatever I produced, the very first snakes that I have produced would stay in my collection forever. They would never be for sale. Not unless it was like, like I couldn't eat kind of story. So what I produced out of that clutch, those 3 eggs, one came out a kingpin, okay, which is a pinstripe lesser. One came out a lesser, and the other one was a blue-eyed leucistic. And unfortunately, the blue-eyed leucistic, and that's what I was aiming for. I was aiming for the blue-eyed leucistic. It was a super lesser because they're both of those snakes had the lesser gene in it. So I cut the eggs on day 60 or day 59, not 59. Just a slither. I don't know if you've watched Billy from Mutation Creation, how he cuts like just a slither off and leaves a just like a closed eyelid almost.
Yeah.
Okay. And just to let the snakes pip if they haven't pipped after day 60, just in case there's some kind of complication. Now, what happened was I did that, and all 3 snakes stuck their noses out and started breathing. They were alive. Everything was great. I was over the moon. The very first egg that I cut, I could see straight away it was a blue-eyed leucistic because it had blue eyes and it was white, and you could just see that the whole snake. So that was that. For me, it was so bittersweet because that's what I was aiming for. And the very first egg that I cut and the very first hatchling that I produced was a bell. And anyway, I put them back. I obviously took out the egg box setup was vermiculite, and then I had it's called press and seal over it, and then it was completely airtight. So took the press and seal off, left, and then obviously had holes in the box now, 4 holes around it so there's airflow. Put the lid on, put it back into the incubator, went to bed, came back the next morning, and the kingpin and the lesser was still in the egg with their little like head sticking out, and the blue-eyed leucistic had crawled 3/4 of the way out the egg and was dead. And she was the bottom third or whatever of her body was still inside the egg, and she had rolled, and she was lying with her head upside down. And so I immediately pulled it out and I cut open the egg. What had happened is she was still attached to the umbilical cord, which was still attached to the placenta, although it was empty and she was fully formed. But she was unable to break away from the umbilical cord. And I think the struggle during the night, because I didn't cut like half the egg shell away, I just cut a slither, so it got caught like on the, if you know what I'm saying, it like so she wasn't able to like freely come out. So the umbilical cord, the placenta trapped her, and she couldn't break away from the umbilical cord. And I think that's what, because obviously the first thing I did was blame myself. Should I have cut? Should I have left it? And I took photographs, sent it to other friends that were breeders. What did I do wrong? And they said, you did nothing wrong. Everything was right. That's just
it happened. Yeah.
So the other 2 snakes I've still got, they're in my yearling rack up there. The kingpin is a male, the lesser is a female, and they are thriving and doing well. And the male will breed next year probably, and the female the year after. We'll see.
That's awesome.
The female will go into the blue-eyed leucistic project, because that is a project that I work on as kind of, I'm thinking of the blue-eyed leucistic projects as more of like a staple diet, bread and butter project where everybody wants a white snake with blue eyes, and it's affordable, it's doable, it doesn't take a lot to produce them. You just got to get a lesser and a Mojave. Sure, okay, it's 25% odds, but
Yeah.
I've got quite a lot of Mojaves and I've got quite a lot of Lessers, and also Mojave to Mojave will give you the super Mojave. So the only difference
That's what
is
I
you've got
do.
a bit of a grey patch just on the top of the head, but it's still a white snake with blue eyes. I think it's still as pretty, if not prettier.
I do those. I do super Mojaves, just like you say, for bread and butter. Purple head, blue eyes, and they go yellowish after a while. I mean, it's a beautiful snake.
I love it. I think it's great. So I'm going to be those two snakes are perfect ingredients to go into the Bell project. So that's what's planned for them. And then obviously I'm working on I gave you a list. I emailed you a list or texted you a list of stuff that I'm working on currently. So this season we're working on to produce the visuals this season are Dreamsicles, which is the lavender albino pod. We will definitely be producing visual lavender albino pods this season. You've seen, if you go onto my Instagram, you'll see pictures there of the pairings and the male. The male's visual, the females are all hets. But the 100% double het female is a proven breeder. And then we've got a couple of other snakes that have got the het lavender albino, and then they've got blade in it as well. Okay, so we're hoping to hit Dreamsicles with blade. That's
blade actually works really well in that project.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the visual exantic parts we're working on this season. Obviously, visual desert ghosts we're working on this season, and then I'm doing the building blocks for visual the clown pod project. I've got clown 100% head pods. And I've got a couple of cinnamon orange dream, 100% head clown, 50% head pod, or 66% head pod. But they're all going to go with a visual of that. I'm not going to breed heads to heads. Yeah. So if it's a head, if one of the snakes is a head, the other one's a visual of that.
That's the best way.
So the clown pod project for me is in the building phase stage at the moment, where I will be producing visual clown pods in 2024.
Oh, that's awesome. Very, very
awesome. But there'll be other it's not just clown pods. Okay, I'm just using those are the base
multi-genes.
That's the base genes. There's going to be orange dream in there's going to be cinnamon in there's going to be pastel in those.
I like this comment from Luke, and he was saying, why are we so far behind the US and the UK when it comes to morphs?
Because there's way more people in those countries, and the demographic is very different. You must understand that the majority of the people in South Africa that outnumber us like 25-1 think that every single snake is poisonous.
Yeah.
And they don't breed them. So we might have a massive population of people in this country, but there's a very, very small percent, and even our demographic of people, the people that are not afraid of snakes, and the bulk of people in this country are shit scared of snakes. And we've got a small country compared to that of the USA and UK. You must understand that Europe, I mean, a trip like from here to Joburg is like UK to France, London to France, so you've got the whole of Europe you can almost fit inside. So, my geography is not that great, but there's just so many more people, especially in America. We're talking 60 million people, or so. Yeah. Sorry, 60 million people in South Africa, and there's over 300 million people in America, and the bulk of them. I mean, you can't compare the two markets, and when you've got that amount of people buying snakes on a regular basis. And you've got, I mean, it's just on Morph Market, and there's so many other different snake forums in America that you can go onto. And something that I've realized as well is that a lot of snakes are bought and sold behind closed doors. You've got to know that.
For sure.
A lot of the snakes that I'm buying now are not even snakes that I've found advertised. It's just through connections that I'm now making as I'm starting to make friends with people in the industry.
But that's
So
the thing about
I
the
can
South
just
African
imagine.
market as well. You see, you don't necessarily know what guys have in their collections, and they obviously entitled to, if they bring something in new or they have something, to not reveal it. But the great part is people think that we are far behind in South Africa, but then breeding season comes along, and then a breeder will showcase a snake that they produced, and then everybody's like, oh, when did that gene come into South Africa?
Yeah,
Or
I've seen snakes that are in this country that aren't even in America.
yeah,
And
and
the thing
I
is,
really think in the last 2 or 3 years, or maybe 4 years, we have gone leaps and bounds from where we were, and I think
Oh no, for sure, for sure.
we are. I won't say we on the UK and the US level, but listen, the stuff that the guys are producing in South Africa,
sorry,
people
I
are
just got
actually turning heads.
I just want to say, sorry, Joe, venomous, not poisonous.
There we go.
Joe's on my case. Joe's kicking my ass tonight.
He is.
I made an absolute prick of myself, and I called a snake poisonous. I'm a thought. Sorry, Joe, venomous. Okay, sorry.
And the stuff that the guys in South Africa are producing now, the international people are looking and they're like, hey, hold on, these guys are they in contention here, so
No, for sure.
I definitely think the guys have a lot of people have streamlined their collections, and that's why you are seeing these things come out now. You got multi-gene clown, desert ghost combos coming out, double and triple recessives even. So the guys in South Africa
But those will
are
be for the
really
export
doing
market.
well. Sorry?
Those will be for the export market, and I think that we've got, and everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but I think we've got a tough year or two ahead of us in South Africa because of what we've all gone through economically with COVID. People don't have, you must, thanks, Joe, I'm forgiven. You're a legend. We can't bounce back as fast as a first world nation like America and whatever. It's going to take us longer to recover from this. So we have to ride out the storm. I know for a fact that there's guys out here in South Africa that have got snakes here that will not even, you won't even see them. They won't even be advertised. They'll go straight onto the export market, straight over. They've got their agents and their connections in America and the UK and in Asia. So you're quite right, Keith. There are snakes here. We think that we don't have the genes and we're so far behind. That's not the case at all. We do have them. It's just that they're not getting advertised here because no one can afford them.
There's a question that came through now, Carl. Any pointers, tips that you can give for people here in South Africa looking to begin breeding ball python or any snake for that matter?
Yeah. Okay. Go for quality and not quantity. If I had to do it all over again, I would spend the same amount of money that I've spent. Okay, first of all, don't spend, and I did a video on this as well, don't spend what you're not prepared to lose. Yeah. And also be prepared to not make a cent for at least 2 to 3 years. This is the big thing. Everyone thinks that they're going to make money in their first year. You'll do that if you have spent a lot of money and you buy adult proven breeders. You're lucky enough to find them. That someone is like, you've got a connection that is selling his collection because he's immigrating overseas or something like that. Okay, because to go and get your hands on adult female proven breeder assessors, those kind of snakes don't really get advertised that often. Okay, so it's usually word of mouth and someone you know. So my advice is to go small and get quality, and recessives always sell better than dominant or incomplete dominant genes. Okay, so having said that, I met one of the top breeders, and I'm never going to mention names on this channel except for like Joe, because Joe's my mate, so we'll just rip each other a new arsehole every now and then. Okay, so he does a lot of dominant genes, and pulled out snakes that he showed me like there are 3 and 4 co-dominant genes mixed together, which made the most beautiful snakes. And he was telling me, he was saying, everyone's going recessive, recessive, recessive. But look at this. Look at this snake with these three dominant genes. Look how beautiful this snake is. Yes, they were expensive dominant genes. Okay, they weren't, you know, like a leopard or something like that. They were dominant genes, but they were expensive. So you can't rule out dominant genes in this industry at all. And not only that, a recessive gene is, unless it's doubled up with a double recessive or tripled up with a triple recessive, is not actually that valuable unless it's stacked with another one or two dominant traits. Okay, so you need, your dominants have to play a part in your recessive projects.
And I mean, I can add also to that now when it comes to points and stuff. And I made this mistake, and a lot of people have, is don't just go out and buy that because it's nice, that because it's nice, that because it's nice. Try and get a project in mind. Say you like pies or for some reason you don't know why you would, but you like clowns. So you go invest in clowns. You don't go buy clowns and pies and pinstripes and pastels. You buy everything that's going to kind of form in there. Otherwise, you sit with a lot of stuff you're never going to use just because it was nice. I made that mistake at the start, and that's my biggest advice to anybody starting.
I did the same thing.
I mean, DJ did a video, I think 2 days ago, where he showcased just some Codom combos. And I think a lot of the stuff that he showed in there showed that you don't necessarily have to do recessive projects. You mentioned it earlier. If you've got a quality pastel and a quality fire, and you make a firefly, that thing will age better than a 100,000 rand snake at the end of the day.
Having said that, if you guys just let me disappear from the camera for 2 seconds, I'm going to bring a snake out here that's going to blow your mind, and it's that exact snake. And you tell me how beautiful this snake is. Just give me 2 seconds.
Oh, cool. I feel a bit bad now because I'm the only one that's not sitting near any snake racks.
I'm sitting right next to mine. So.
I see.
I don't know how much the lighting is picking up on this snake here. Okay, but I mean, it's making it look a lot lighter. But these oranges, this is like almost black, and bright orange. Okay. Now, this is one of the most stunning snakes. Take a guess what this snake is.
It's a bit unclear, but it looks firefly-ish of some description.
Yeah, I was going to say
it's a firefly head clown.
Awesome.
Okay. It's a firefly head clown, and I mean, I'm looking at the camera and I'm looking at the snake, and I can tell you now that these colors are deeper and darker and brighter than what you can see. Now, this is 2 cheap dominant genes mixed with a het recessive gene. Okay. And she is going to be one of next year's breeders that goes with a visual clown. And she's going to go with a fire blade clown male. So it just goes to show that you can visually appealing snake or what you can do with it. But I mean, you got to watch DJ's video to see what the possibilities are. I mean, this is entry level stuff. This is absolute entry level snakes. Yeah,
like, you know what,
you could have 10 of those at an expo, and you'll sell all 10 of them.
Exactly.
Like whatever
I believe at the last expo, it was all the snakes that were like under 1,500 rand. Most of them, those were the ones that were sold. So that's why I say the hobby is so important, because to get other breeders involved in it, because for guys like us that want to do it as a sideline business and to make a little bit of extra bucks on the side, our biggest clients are other breeders. And it's not because it's not a competition, and that's why I try and keep telling guys to stop having that competition mentality. You're going to produce a snake, a male or a female, because there's so many different traits and combos out there that are yet to be done that not everybody can make them. So there's going to be a handful of guys that make a certain gene, and you're going to have made something, and you're going to look at what another breeder's got, and you think that is going to work with that male that I've got, so I'm going to buy 3 or 4 females from that egg, or vice versa, and that's how it survives, because there's not one breeder that's going to make every single snake in every single gene, every single combo.
Definitely
And the more
not.
breeders you've got producing the more genes, then everybody's buying from each other and creating better and better and better snakes.
And what's nice is you can also see what everyone's doing, because you've got, let's just say you didn't know anything and you didn't know that a firefly is a nice animal. You got your pastel, you got your fire, but you keep missing the odds. You get pastels, fires, normals, all that kind of stuff. You can see somebody else do it. You're like, okay, I actually quite like that. Or they can do all the hard work for you, and you don't go and invest a whole whack of money into multi-gene animals where they've done it and you realize, it's actually not what I thought it would be. And then you can actually go another direction with similar animals. I like doing that. You don't always have to, like it's like Justin always says, you follow your own road, but you can always take a detour here and there. Let somebody else follow that road just to make mistakes so you don't have to.
I think the nice thing about, I'd also like to do a couple of, I've had kind of mad thoughts going on in my head, these wild combinations of what I'd like to try and pair and what I'd like to try and produce in the future. I'm one of those guys that just constantly thinks about what, and then I'll go and look for it on Google, and I'll go and look at all the breeders overseas and go and see if they've produced it. And then I think I wonder what that would look like. And that is the enjoyable part. Now imagine being able to do that, like what these guys in America are doing. They've got a couple of thousand snakes, so they can take a whole bunch of males and a whole bunch of females. And it's like, there's one pairing that I've got here. I've got a male, and then I've got about 3 females for him. The odds of hitting the genes that I'm looking for is 1 in 1,024.
Okay. It's fun.
It's a 9-gene snake. It's a 9-gene trait. And I'm going for it.
No, why not? You never know. Same as if you don't buy a ticket, you can't win.
It's crazy because a lot of it obviously are hits, 100% hits and 50% and 66% hit. But I've got quite a few of them, and I've done all the calculations. And if like I say, you're playing the lottery. You never win the lottery. You never win the lottery. If you don't have a line in the water, you're not going to catch a fish.
Exactly.
Simple as that.
Exactly.
Okay. So if you've got the snakes, obviously, if you've got the extra time and if you've got the space, and you can say, all right, listen, let's just wind it and go for a certain project, and let's just see how long it takes us to do it. Then by all means, then do it. But not many people have that luxury. So. I think the staple diet, or the way that I've based my breeding projects on, are the 3, probably your safest bets on your recessive, which being your desert ghost, clown, and pod, as base recessive morphs to genes to work with. Yeah. So, and then build from there to create. For me, this is what I'm personally doing: is taking those like another level and adding in a gene and adding. So I've already, from doing my first year of ball python breeding, from having a 1-year or a 2-year business plan where I was going to make my money back, I'm already planning my projects for 6 years time.
Yeah.
For 2028. Because I know that I have to, the hatchlings of the hatchlings that I'm going to be producing next year are the only snakes that where I will see the results of that. So I've got to wait 6 years to pair those snakes. Yeah, if I even hit the visuals that I'm aiming to hit, and then breed those visuals to those visuals. So I'm looking at 6 to 8 years on the kind of stuff that I'm looking at. If I'm still around in 6 to 8 years time, it'll be America. Well, in the ball python industry, I'm hoping, But it's just like you've got to think like that, because if you don't think like that, then you're not gonna go anywhere. You've got to have a goal. You've got to have a vision. Anyone can take 2 dominant genes and breed them, and 50% are going to come out looking normal, and 50% are going to come out looking like the other snake, whatever dominant gene it is. But you're not going to get much money for it. You got to take your rat food, or your rats into consideration,
electricity,
and maintaining. And at the end of the day, with the how much are you actually making out of that snake? And it's not just the cost factor of money. It's the cost factor, especially like with my connection. Yeah, it's my personal time. It's my free time. It's the time that I can be spending
family time. I know.
So you've got to take that. Your time is worth something, because if I wasn't doing this as a part-time, because this is a hobby / investment for me, I intend to make money off it. That's one of the reasons why. It's otherwise, if I wasn't going to make money off this, I wouldn't do it just for fun. I'd have a lot less snakes and do it for fun. But with the amount of snakes that I've got, I'm doing it so that I can subsidize it. Now, if I hadn't spent this kind of money, and I've spent hundreds of thousands in the last 18 months, I would have invested in machinery and plant equipment for my business that I do, that provides for me, that I've been doing for the last, for the last years, the couple, like 6 years, my day-to-day job. I could have put that money into that. The reason why I did this was also because the idea came to me during COVID. Not ball pythons, but the idea of a secondary income came to me when I had to, because I own my own business and I had to shut it down for 4 months. But I still had to pay salaries. I still had to pay, rent. I just signed a bond on a house. I ended up getting out of it and just paying occupational rent. But then is when the seed was planted to think of what can I do from home where I don't have to interact with people, because COVID is whatever. I don't even want to talk about that bullshit. But now you think that you are stuck at home and you're not going to be able to see people. Now you've got to earn a living. How can you earn a living without having to interact with people and do something? And I was thinking about Bitcoin and stocks, and I'm not that kind of person. I'm not. I'm a hands-on. I work in construction and plant hire. I'm not a person to sit behind a computer and study the stock market and do Bitcoin and mining and cryptocurrencies and shit like that. So, excuse my language. Sorry, guys.
It's all good.
So, a couple of months later, obviously, we went back to work, and then it went out of my head for a couple of months, and I wasn't thinking about it. And then December came around, and I bought my son a ball python for Christmas as a Christmas present. And then I started delving into ball pythons to look at the keeping of them. And then I saw the market. I saw it. And that's when the light bulb went off. I was lying in bed one night and I was looking at morph market. Someone told me about morph market. And I looked at it and I thought, this is something that I can do from home. And if I do it properly, I don't have to interact with people. I can do everything online, and I can be interacting with and have a hobby that I love doing.
Yeah.
So, and earn some money on the side from it. So it was actually a backup investment. The reason why I did it was twofold. Obviously, I chose it because and I used to be a game ranger in my early 20s. So nature is just in my blood. So for me to sit at home, at worst case, but the thing is now, you know how many snakes that you've got to breed to be able to just live off that on its own. You know what I'm saying? So what I realized as well is that a very large chunk of my salary that I earn from my day job goes into my ball python breeding hobby, just to get to the stage of where I want to be in 2 to 4 years' time. I'm not going to the kind of snakes that I want to sell until 2025.
Yeah, but by then, like you say, you're working your way towards something, and it'll get to a point where your day job salary isn't needed. You'll be able, it'll be the hobby / side business will support itself, which is where you want to be.
Exactly. I'm not there yet, but that's why I'm prepared to sit on it for the next 2 years, 3 years, and I have no doubt in my mind that the South African economy is going to recover. Because I work in the construction sector and I see the investment, I work with the biggest construction company in the whole of Africa, the biggest. And there's money coming in. There's guys investing, there's projects, the books are full. 75% full for investment for next year on development and infrastructure going up. So the overseas guys are taking notice. A lot of money getting pumped into this country. It's going to be a bit slower for us to get our hands on that money. But the good news is that it's coming. And that means that, okay, obviously this Russian-Ukraine war screwed everything up with oil. Yeah. So the fuel price went through the roof. So now people have got a choice. Spend 2,000 Rand filling up your car. Like to fill up my 4x4 is 2,000 Rand. Or, we buy, a couple of snakes. I've got to fill up my bucky once a week. You know what I'm saying? I'm spending 8,000 Rand a month on fuel because, I do a lot of traveling. I travel from construction site to construction site all day, every day. So now you've got people that do that and then they've got families to feed. So right now, there's not a lot of money to be spent on something like snakes, and it's a long-term investment. But I do believe that in the next year, 18 months, maybe 2 years, we're going to see a turnaround. And I do believe people will be buying snakes, more of them, and the industry will get back on top of things again.
I'm sure.
No, definitely.
Got a very positive outlook for the reptile industry in South Africa. Otherwise, I can tell you right now, I wouldn't be doing it.
No, for sure, yeah.
There's sorry, Gavin. We like here in Cape Town, we're doing expos and stuff. We do educational talks and things like that on a regular basis to get people involved and to just take the whole stigma away from it that snakes are bad and this and that. And more people are contacting us and saying, look, how do I get involved? Where do I buy this? Where do I do that? So yeah, there definitely is a influx of people coming into the market. You can definitely see it, especially on the groups. People looking to buy their first ball python, and he buys one today, and tomorrow he's back. He's like, so what else is for sale, type of thing, So I think we've all been through that one. So the hobby is definitely growing.
You got to get the kids involved. It starts there. It starts with the kids.
Yeah.
Got to get them.
That's what happened with you. Yeah. Oh, that's what happened with you. You bought your kid a birthday present, a Christmas present. Yeah. So now, Carl, I have a question for you, Carl. Gun to your head. Okay. If you could only ever have one gene, if tomorrow you woke up and the world only consisted of one gene, and you had the choice, what would it be?
And it had to be a single gene, or can it be a recessive mixed with
a single gene? And it's the only one every other morph, combo, whatever, just disappeared, and there was only one, and you could choose.
And there were still others available out there, but I could only have one, or
only one gene available in the whole world, and you were the one that got to choose it.
And I was the one that got to choose it, and it was a single gene, eh?
And you can be as selfish as you want.
I think I'm going to have to go with banana.
Okay. That's not a bad choice.
Very powerful. People underestimate the power of the banana
and
gene.
I'll tell you why, because
you've
only got that gene, and you've only got that gene to work with. And that's what I said to you earlier on in the video. I think banana, it's got a bad rep just because of the male maker, female maker story. Yeah. But it's one of the most beautiful, visually appealing snakes that you can find, that you can see.
No, for sure.
I don't know. I just took a flyer there. There's going to be guys that will flat out say Xantic.
Any answer was right. Any answer was right except clown. Clown was the only wrong answer.
Clown. Look, I'm working on clown projects that are insane. I really do. I know that you. And then
I like to hate. I like to hate on clown.
I got guys that don't like pod, and I love pod.
Yeah, but those people are wrong. Those people are wrong.
Give me two choices, okay? Banana and pod. If I had to choose two.
I'll take that, because like I say, if it was clown, it's wrong, and anybody that says that pied and hyper are wrong is not the right person to be around. Yeah. Get rid of those people.
Pod is a very close second. I love pod because of the saddles and how it breaks up the pattern. I'm a pod freak. It's one of my staples in my collection.
White snake.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And what is your view on sunset?
On
Yay
sunset.
Yeah, yay or nay?
Yeah, I do. I think it's better than the monsoon for sure. Okay, one way.
100%.
I love the sunset because the coloration on the sunset, because it's got those deep oranges, and
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot that can be done with the sunset. Now, I'm not the right guy to be talking about sunset and monsoon because I'm entry level. Okay, so when you get the guys on the channel, but personally, if you said to me, Carl, here's a sunset, here's a monsoon, which do you want? Sunset. I will take a sunset.
100%. Yeah.
And
I think
any of them.
You know what? A lot of people hate on sunset because it browns out and blah blah blah. You know what I think it is? It's the same as something like a spot nose. Spot nose looks. When I started, spot nose were one of the cheapest snakes other than a normal, and it's visually it's an okay snake. You know, it looks slightly different to a normal. And then when Justin hit the spot nose clown, the next day you couldn't find spot noses for sale. And it's just, I think
Justin puts anything on YouTube on his channel, and the next day it's the most sought after snake. Like he did lace.
Yeah,
lace
exactly.
into clown now. Yeah, now everybody wants lace.
Exactly.
That means like got the Midas touch.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like
if he says eventually it's a good gene, everyone's going to go out and buy their gene.
Yeah. But eventually someone's going to hit that correct combo with sunset, and then same with monsoon. Eventually somebody is going to. I like a monsoon, but it's not for me. But eventually somebody's going to hit upon the perfect combination, and it's going to change it completely. It's going to take a while. Like I say, spot nose for me is the best example. It was around for so long, and it was neat. And then they hit the clown, and then it was insane. So I think eventually sunset's going to go that way. They're going to hit I think I sent you a picture a while back of, I think it was a sunset spider enchi or something like that.
Something like that.
That thing is insane. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, they've only just touched the tip of the iceberg now. They've only just, sunset and monsoon is still brand new, you know. So,
no, for sure, yeah.
The possibilities are endless there. Already there's a guy that's breeding sunset and monsoon together.
Yeah, I think that's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know if this one's about to bite me or but there's a guy that's already breeding, he's doing a sunset monsoon combo to see what happens, you know. So we'll see what happens there, because that's going to take a while to prove out. He's only started it this year.
It can't be worse than a sunset clown. So
I don't know what's gonna. Honestly, that's why I say the possibilities are absolutely endless. I mean, I look at snakes now, some of the combinations that are coming out, and it's mind blowing. I took a trip. I've done 2 trips to Joburg in the last couple of months, where I went to some breeders' houses, and they opened up their drawers for me, and I looked at snakes that are literally. It's hard to describe how beautiful these snakes were, and what it did is for me, and it was probably the best thing I ever did, was take a drive up to see these breeders. So to see that it's a growing hobby, okay, and that there are guys producing snakes here that are top tier, and they're doing it and it says they're exporting, sure, and they've been doing it for a long time, sure, but you've got to earn your stripes, Make no mistake. And a lot of guys, it's one of the reasons why, sure, I'm a new breeder, and I've sold snakes that I bought in the beginning and then sold them because it's not projects that I want to focus on. But one of the reasons why I've kind of gone quite heavy on the social media side of things, where I did a YouTube channel and I'm trying to upload a video or 2 a week, and it's to build up a name and trust. So people, when eventually I do produce the snakes that I want to produce, or that I'm going to produce, and I do advertise them, I'm not a stranger. People will look at, they'll go, oh, okay, because I've had a media presence. That's another thing. There was someone that asked a question earlier about getting into the project and starting to breed ball pythons. You must understand that if nobody knows you, you're not going to
sell. It's a brand that you're building.
Snakes. You're not just going to breed snakes and put them on Morph Market or on the group chats and people are going to buy from you, because people are loyal and they're going to buy from reputable breeders. They're going to buy from guys that they know have been in the industry for a long time. And if you've been in the industry for a long time, it means that you are trusted and you've survived. Okay.
Your name means more.
Beg your pardon?
Your name often means more than the animals you produce.
100%. If I've got a choice of buying the exact same snake, and I'm not saying this to try and discriminate against anybody, okay? So I'm saying it's important. And not only that, it's also, sure, if you're working on a new gene and it's something that you're going to prove out, but you're already selling snakes, don't tell anybody about it, because you don't want everybody jumping on the bandwagon. But I operate on my kind of motto is transparency. I don't hide what I'm breeding. I openly pull out my racks. I openly show on my YouTube videos what I'm pairing. And the reason why I do that is because I'm not making anything that somebody else hasn't already done 10 times over. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not a competition for me. And what I'm doing is I'm creating a paper trail, so to speak. So when I eventually do sell these snakes and people need a reference and they want to go back and they want to check, they go, oh, okay, yes, and we saw a video like 2 years ago. He had those as hatchlings, and now, he's actually done it, and I'm not some guy that's just cropped up out of the woodwork and like flew under the radar for 3 years, and then just all of a sudden hit the market. And I've got all these fantastic genes and morph combinations and everything to sell. Like, let's imagine you breed double and triple recessives for sale, and you're trying to sell them, and then there's one of the top breeders that's been doing it for 10 years selling an identical snake, and you are a breeder that's about to part with, let's say, 150,000 Rand on one snake. Who are you going to buy the snake from?
Exactly. People are going to be like, who the hell is this guy? Where does he come from?
Exactly. They're going to go, who's this guy?
Is he posting somebody else's snakes?
Exactly. You may have the snake, but the thing is, like, in Joburg it's different. There's so many more breeders in Gauteng. You can Pretoria, Gauteng, guys just drive, maybe an hour or two. But here in KZN, most of the snakes that I buy are coming from Gauteng. So I've got to jump in my car. I've got to jump because, unless I know the oaks and I trust them and whatever. But if I can't visually see the snake, I'm not going to buy it. It doesn't work that way. Those desert ghosts that I bought, I jumped in my car at 2 o'clock in the morning and drove to Secunda. There was no courier that would take, and it would have cost a fortune. And I went and I jumped in my car at 2 o'clock in the morning. I drove there, I bought the snakes, and I drove back. And I would have got there, and if they weren't the snakes that were advertised, and if they weren't exactly, if I didn't hold them in my hand like this, and look at them and make sure everything was lekker, I would have jumped in my car and turned around, and I would have driven home again. That's the risk you take. So you have to, if someone knows my face and they see my YouTube channel and they see what I'm pairing, and they watch something like this, like these podcasts, and then you post something for sale, they feel safer. So to the new ball python breeder that's wanting to get into the hobby, give yourself a social media presence. Post your snakes on Instagram. Get an Instagram account. Take pictures of your snakes. Show people what you've got. Show them what you're breeding. Do a YouTube channel, even if you're a bit camera shy. And, but at least start off with Instagram and get onto the group forums and the group chats and ask questions and make friends with people. That's a big thing. Make contacts, make connections, make friends. I know there can be politics in the industry. I had a bit of politics with a breeder for a little bit. We buried their hatchet and we mates again, and I'm happy to say. But sometimes things can get a little bit funny in the industry, and it's not what you want. Everybody, we all connected by the same thing, and that's a love of the industry and a love of these snakes.
Carl,
So-
sorry to interrupt you there. This is one of our teething problems. It's just popped up now again. I got a message from StreamYard that we've got about 1:45 left.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
I think because we're on the free version, we only allowed a certain amount of a live streaming time. So
Then let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up.
We've got about 2 minutes left, I think, and then the stream will disconnect.
Well, then
I'll let you guys finish up.
Before we go, Carl, we just want to say thank you very much. It was a lot of fun, and we enjoyed that. And just shout out your Instagram, YouTube, whatever, to anyone that isn't following.
Mm-hmm.
I must give a shout out. Do you want me to give a shout out to a couple of guys?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, shout out all your socials. Yeah.
Without a doubt, I'm going to call out 2 or 3 of the guys here in South Africa in my area, which are not only good friends of mine, but great breeders. And Mackenzie from Mac Morphs. I want to give him a massive shout out. Michael Jones from Jones Boys. I bought my prize collection, my Desert Ghost multi-gene from Mike Jones. Tyron Kurikrama from Beautiful Snakes. He actually was the guy that pretty much got me into the beginning stages of my ball python breeding. Absolutely, Joe Tully. You call me on the other side of the world, watching me there, giving me gears on this thing. And Rob Barraclough from Royal Balls. Awesome. I've got to give those guys a massive shout out. And definitely Wally van der Walt and Rassie Erasmus from Ball Python Morphs.
The OGs.
I've got to give those
legends.
The OGs in South Africa. And your sorry, yeah.
No, those guys there, flat out. I haven't met Brad Chamont, fantastic guy. I've got to give him a BCL Pythons. I've got to give him a shout out as well. I have bought snakes from him. The rest of the guys I've still got to meet. Obviously DJ's got a reputation. I don't need to give him a shout out. That is well known in the industry. I'm just talking about the guys that I've got a day-to-day dealing with. So those are the guys I'd like to give a shout out to. Top guys.
And if everyone wants to find you, your socials, where can they? What's your Instagram handle, all that stuff?
Yeah, Northcoast _Constrictors. That's my Instagram, Northcoast, one word _Constrictors. And they can find me on my YouTube channel, which is Northcoast Constrictors as well. So all you got to do if you want to get in touch with me, and I'm on Morph Market. So public view on Morph Market, Northcoast Constrictors, my cell phone number's there, my email's there, my snakes that I've got for sale are there as well. But if you're on Instagram, you just hit me up with a DM and I'll respond to your message, or go onto my YouTube and reply back to every single person that comments on my videos.
And guys, go check out his Instagram. I had another good look at it before this, and it's really seriously cool animal. So do yourself a favor, if you've got nothing else to do tonight, you want to just scroll through random Instagram, Northcoast Constrictors, go for it, guys.
A lot of those, except from Joe and Rob, I haven't bought snakes from them because obviously they're overseas, but these are guys that are like my mentors. But there's snakes there from Ant McKenzie, snakes from Tyron, snakes from Michael Jones, snakes from Brad Chamont. There is a snake there from DJ, but came from Tyron. So, those guys definitely. But check out my Instagram, because obviously I didn't breed those snakes. I didn't produce them. There's 1 or 2 that I produced myself there. The rest of them were all purchased. And then obviously I bought snakes from Wally and Rassie as well. Those are. But once I've uploaded this I'll give a shout out to you as well, Gavin, because we just recently in the middle of a business deal as well. So.
Yeah, let's hope it all works out with paperwork. And then you're gonna have some power, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't have.
But Paul, once I upload this video, in the description, I'll pop all your social media details on there so people can find it. But thanks for joining us, man.
Thank you.
Really appreciate the support. I think it went really well tonight. I think the nerves have settled in quite nicely now.
No, guys, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. And I mean, we can only go up from here.
And we'll we'll definitely have you on again once your big projects are
definitely.
taken hold of the week, and then you're going to have to show us.
Give it a year, or maybe after the season, and if we're going to be in touch anyway on WhatsApp and Instagram.
Definitely.
So at the end of the season, we'll see what we produce, and they'll if we hit some nice snakes there, then there'll be some content. But
Nothing.
But I really appreciate you guys having me. I feel quite honored and blessed to be the first on your podcast. Thank you very much for the invite. And there's plenty breeders to come that are going to blow this channel out the water with what they've got to say. So I'm looking forward to watching them.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks very much, bud. Have a great evening, and we'll chat to you soon.
Yeah.
Take care. Thank you very much, guys. Cool. And cheers to all the viewers. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Yes, cheers. Bye.
Cool. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you, Keith. And again, thanks to everyone that was watching and that commented in the comment section there. It was a lot of fun, and we hope you guys enjoyed it. And on to
first one is in the bag.
Yeah, and we'll let you guys know when the next one is going to be.
Yeah, we'll definitely be in touch on social media to let you guys know who the next one will be. If there's anybody that you guys want to see on the channel, just go in the comment section below.
Let us know,
drop us their details. We'll get in touch with them, and we'll see if we can get them onto the channel.
And follow Reptile Podcast on Instagram, and that's Keith's one, and Rose by Design, which is mine. And you can keep up to date with who we're going to have, when we're going to have. We'll be posting it between the two of us there. So give us all a follow, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Definitely, guys. Also, just go over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell button for notifications so that you guys can stay up to date with when we will be posting our next videos. Until the next one.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Cheers. Bye.